Chapter 6. I don't know how much time passes. I don't even realize it's light out when Craig's car departs. Something shakes me and I gasp, panic flying through me for a few seconds before I consciously recognize what's going on. Hey, Vita. A familiar voice calls, worry heavy in her voice. Lynn? I ask, tears I never realized I was shedding falling down my face. Immediately, the thief pulls me in for a hug, holding me tight. She's warm, both in body and in soul. I feel it as she holds me, both strong and soft as it pulses inside her. It's much, much larger than any other soul I've touched before. Even though she is alive, I feel it as she holds me. Yeah. It's me, Vita, I'm right here. I'm shivering and numb, eyes bloodshot and drooping. There had been. Lynn, I did something and... Lynn, Shh, it's okay. It's okay, we'll figure it out. But we won't talk about it up here, okay? Let's get you downstairs, okay Vita? I finally managed to register the rest of the room. The kids of the shack are sitting and standing around me, looking concerned. A few of them have their little hands grasping parts of Lynn's clothes for support. You okay, big sis? One of them murmurs. You wouldn't get up. We had to find Lynn. It wasn't truly there. I couldn't see it, I couldn't hear it, I couldn't feel it, for it was not real in the way I understand reality. It went through the floor like an illusion, through the earth, through a dozen other islands deep below. But not through me. With my new senses, I knew the false thing, and it knew me. It grasped my body, winding around me, twisting with the sort of bored curiosity which one might roll in between their fingers. But this was no person, and the chill touch of its idle violations did not distract from its true purpose. A soul was found, a soul was taken, and my soft friend died in my arms as the thing slithered back into the nothingness whence it came. Vita. Lynn calls, shaking me again. Hey. Stay with me. You're okay. I've got you, you're okay. Calm down, honey. Breathe slow. Slow, Vita. Oh. I had been hyperventilating. I try to focus my attention on Lynn's words as best I can, calming my breathing. In, out. In, out. That's right. That's a good girl. You're safe, kiddo. Am not a kiddo, I manage to murmur. Lynn laughs. Why, there you are. You back with me, Vita? I nod slowly, blinking to clear my mind. I am back. I am here. I certainly am not safe, though. Yeah. Sorry. You got nothing to apologize for, honey. Lynn gives me another quick squeeze and stands up. You gonna be okay now? I've gotta get back to what I do. I swallow, choking out the next bit. Why yeah. Lynn. I think there might be something. She puffs out her cheeks, looking nervous. Okay, Vita, is it like an immediate danger thing, or can this wait for a few hours? I really gotta go. Oh. Of course she's busy. Right. I don't want her to go, I feel like I am about to burst into tears again or worse. Yet. What could she do if it came back? Nothing. Not a damn thing. So she may as well go. It can wait. Okay. Perfect, she says, nodding quickly. Kids, Vita is allowed down below by herself. The rest of you are not allowed down there with her. Head down if you need to. Practice or something, Vita. But do not do anything unless you are sure it's safe, okay? I nod. Okay. Good girl. See you later, kiddos. Lynn turns and rushes out of the door at crazy speeds, leaving me with the other orphans. Letting out a shaky breath, I fumble around with my covers and eventually find poor Roscoe. I give him a cataclysmic hugger squeezer, cuddling him hard and rocking him left and right a few times before finally letting go and hiding him back in the wad of clothes that serves as his nest. Maybe some other time, Roscoe, you will live. Am not a kiddo, one of the other orphans says in a mocking imitation of my voice. The rest of them burst into laughter, prompting a heavy blush. Tossing my blankets at the offending brat, I get up and promptly decide to take a walk. To clear my head of the horrifying Eldritch friend murder, obviously. Not because I'm embarrassed. The many winding, maze-like alleyways are easy enough to find a place to get lost in. Not lost. I know this city well. Mentally lost, with the rhythm of my feet on the stone guiding my thoughts to wherever they may go. Yesterday doesn't feel real, but it is. That power is still inside me, and I still have to decide what I'm going to do with it. I have no answers for that yet, but at least the walk is nice. It's been a long time since I actually wanted to walk anywhere. Being constantly malnourished did not exactly make moving an appealing activity. I'm still pretty full from yesterday, though. Whatever slop that healer gave me to eat was incredible. That stuff by itself almost made murdering Greg worth it. Maybe it's best not to think that way. Shunk. A familiar sound catches my ear, ever so softly. A dangerous sound, the kind street rats like me quickly learn to avoid. It's the sound of a blade sliding into flesh, probably just a block away. I should definitely turn the heck around and... Hold on. I feel something. Someone just died. It would be a shame to let the soul go to waste, right? Before I really even get why I'm doing it, I start sneaking over to the alleyway. Was this a stupid idea? Probably. But there's a soul over there. I want it, damn it. That's not even freaky necromancer instinct, though there might be a bit of that involved. Eating souls is how I get stronger. Getting stronger is how I get food. I'm so tired of being trodden on, of starving all the time. I have to take a few risks and pull myself up somehow. I get to the alleyway, peeking one eye out from behind the corner. 3 men are at the far end of the street, one of them lying with his back on the ground, clearly dead. The other 2 stand over him, a short, roundish man that isn't quite as fat as Greg but looks like he's aiming for it, and a tall, skinny man wiping down a wooden dagger with a cloth. Both are dressed in grubby old clothing, clearly not the owners of anything particularly expensive. Unfortunately, their eyes are sharper than their weapons. The fat man spots me immediately. Shit, he grumbles. There's a kid, Squigs. Shit, sounds about right, yeah. They're pretty far away, but I couldn't outrun Greg, so I probably can't lose these 2 either. I just wanted to sneak up and take the soul after they left. I didn't see anything, I squeak at them both. Well, how about you get out here so we can see you, the tall guy apparently named Squigs answers. His voice sounds greasy, like I'll need to wash off just for talking to him. I don't wanna. You're gonna stab me. Squigs chuckles and shakes his head. No, nothing like that. We just need to make sure you're not gonna talk to the guards. Right, Friggs? The shorter man nods. I promise, kid. It'll be fine. Here, I got some food for you if you behave. I scowl. Liars. All the criminals say that. No one gives food away for free except Lynn. The shorter man sounds a lot nicer than the greasy tall guy, but there's still an edge to his words that's sharper than his dagger. I'm not gonna tell nobody. I steal stuff too. Fuck the guards. The pair of them grin. Please, little miss. We're not some common thieves. We don't steal. Squigs says. Stole his life, I correct, pointing at the corpse. Friggs laughs at that. She's got you there, Squigs. But seriously, little girl, you're gonna have to come here or things are gonna go poorly for you. I swallow and nod, stepping into the alley completely. I have to be ready. They might be honest. But more likely, they are just getting me close to shank the witness. I refuse to be another nameless corpse in this alley. Power moves its way into my hands, ready to rip out a soul if they come for me. They have knives, and they seem to be professional killers. This isn't going to be a drawn-out beat-down like with Greg. I have one shot and one shot only. Surprise is the only option. Kill one, animate him. Maybe animate both corpses if I can get to them. I can't let them escape after using necromancy. Better to kill the thin one first, then, he looks faster. I approach slowly, avoiding their gaze like the meek little kid they thought I was. Yet I can't help but be a bit tense. For all I know, this could be the end. No. I will not die. I'll get them first. I keep my gaze locked on their hands, ready to move the instant they... This kid, Squigs murmurs to his companion. Yes, Friggs agrees. The streets make them hard, I suppose. We're really not going to hurt you, little miss. I just want to get a good look at you. Could you take your hood off, please? Shit. I'm not in range to touch them yet. I really hope they're honest. Warily, I do as instructed. Friggs hums. I believe you. He pulls some kind of fried nugget out of his dirty coat and tosses it towards me. I catch it on instinct. It smells good. Then he turns and picks up the body, throwing it over his shoulder. The soul stays where it is when the body moves, I note. If you want more food, you can come with us. Otherwise, have a pleasant day, little miss. Not little, I mumble, already biting down on the treat. It's some juicy meat thing, and it's utterly delicious. He smiles and nods politely, then the two of them turn to leave. I let them, content to finish off my tasty meal. As good as it is, I certainly don't want to follow the two murderers. Shit, they could be professional assassins for all I know. Besides, I still have something to collect here. Once they're gone, I carefully reach down and grab the human soul. It's a little worrying that this is the treat I'm looking forward to more. As tempting as it is to chow down on this immediately, though, I pull the soul into my arm for now, storing it safely. There are a few things I want to try with it. Quickly vacating the area, I wander my way back to the shack, wordlessly ignoring the other orphans and head down to the secret space below. I sit down and get comfy. I have another human soul. Before I do anything too crazy with it, I want to be able to ask the person in it for permission. Unfortunately, that doesn't work super well. First, I try to just think at it. That doesn't seem to help. The soul doesn't react when I talk out loud, either. So I start getting creative, moving the stranger's soul and my soul around in my body so they touch a bit, but still, nothing. I spend a full frustrating hour on this, and by the end I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need to stick this in a body that can talk if I want to talk with it. Which kind of defeats the point if they end up as subservient as Greg. Hey, can't I subject the very essence of your being to the darkest of all blasphemies? Yes, Vita. Of course, Vita. Anything for you, Vita. It makes me shudder to think about. Frowning, I give up. I store the soul for later, though. There are a few other things I want to test. I'll just need either Lynn or another corpse first. I close my eyes and get back to meditating. I have another item on the agenda, soul sensing. I can feel souls pretty easily when they're floating around outside a body, but I can't feel anything from a living soul unless I touch the person. This is annoying, and I bet I can do better. If Rowan is right, Lynn can sense the relative power of a living soul without touching anybody, and I should be able to as well. I try to focus on that sense I get when in contact with someone, trying to reach out and feel the life in the orphans up above me. But it's just no dice. What am I missing? Heading back up the ladder, I convince one of the kids to sit still for me. I place my hand on his neck, feeling his soul. Such a tiny, paltry thing it is, even smaller than mine before I devoured Greg. Black with freckles of white, like drops of Dine water. I move my hand, putting it on the back of his shirt. I can still sense the soul through the fabric, though it's certainly harder. As I pull my hand farther and farther away, it rapidly gets more and more difficult to sense anything. An inch away and I start sweating from the strain of concentration. 2 inches, and I can't feel the soul anymore, no matter how hard I try. Ugh. What am I missing? What does Lynn have that I don't? A substantially larger soul, for one. Maybe that's it. Maybe not. I still have things I want this second soul for. First, so unfortunately there will be no eating yet. Instead, it's time to go roan hunting. Chapter 7 Roan hunting, thankfully, is way easier than Lynn hunting. His scamming zone from yesterday was ruined thanks to the Templar, but he has a set few spots where he is likely to be. Busy streets are a must to draw large crowds, and they need to have enough space for him to set up without getting in the way of any established shops. I have a good guess on where he'll be today, based on his normal site rotation patterns. Sure enough, I find him on the first try. Ooh, nice try, ma'am, but as you can see, it was here all along. Better luck next time. I smile a little, approaching behind Rowan and giving him a light pat. Whoa. Stay to the front of the, oh, Vita. Hey there, kiddo. Things going okay? I nod. Good to hear. You need something, or you here to help? Well, I should help. And it's not like my questions are super urgent. Both, I murmur. He smiles wider. Fantastic. Alright folks, now that my lovely assistant is here, I work the con with him for a while, trying to be as attentive as possible. I want to get better at helping Rowan, but I also noticed something the other day that I want to pay extra close attention to. Rowan is making a pretty significant amount of money. I'm not great with money. It's not like I've ever had much cause to learn about it. I know the engraved chitin chips people call coins are made by the government somewhere in Skyhope, formed from the shed shells of some kind of domesticated monster. The designs are super complicated, and if I tried to make fake ones I'd have the city's best guards all up my ass before I could say investment fraud, whatever that is. But I know a bit about how much things cost, and it looks like Rowan could buy a lot more food than he actually does. So why doesn't he? I keep those thoughts to myself for now, whiling away the hours as Rowan's assistant. It goes wonderfully, in fact, until the familiar helmet appears. Why is the Templar back? We're in a completely different part of the city. He starts walking my way again, too. Oh God, am I found out? Can he see the soul I have stored away? Oh shit, that's it. I'm going to die. The Templar gets in line to play the game Rowan is running. He just waits, like any other patron. I give Rowan a concerned look. He mouths the words "I have no fucking idea" at me. This is happening, I guess. Rowan immediately swaps the game back to cups so I'm not involved with it personally, thank goodness. Sitting next to him, I try to look even smaller than usual. Time ticks by slowly until the Templar finally, eventually, is next in line. 3 games, please, he rumbles, passing Rowan the cost for exactly that. Yes sir, Rowan says pleasantly, flourishing the cups. Behind his helmet, the Templar's face is unreadable. Rowan starts the game, doing his first run with no tricks, just fast movement. The Templar tracks the ball without trouble, correctly identifying the cup. Good eye, sir. I always wondered if it's hard to see out of those visors of yours. It can be, unfortunately, the Templar answers easily. The way they cut peripheral vision is not to my liking, but it is better than taking an arrow to the face. Rowan chuckles, starting the second game. I watch him weave an illusion for this one, flicking his fingers in magical patterns under the table to fake a single pass of the cup. I have to admit, sir, I'm surprised to see a noble Templar such as yourself at my humble stall. An honor, to be sure, but certainly a surprise. Rowan's words are easy and natural. He has the perfect poker face on, while I'm barely managing to not sweat enough to create a pool. The Templar guesses the correct cup again, utterly unfazed by the illusion. Truth be told, this is not the sort of game or business I care for, the Templar says. But nonetheless it was not my intention to deprive you of your income yesterday. I should have approached you more discreetly. I apologize. Rowan grins, and not even I can tell if it's fake or genuine. The third round begins. Well sir, if your goal is to avoid depriving me of my income, you're gonna have to stop guessing all these balls correctly. Well, that is the nature of the game, is it not? It is a test of perception and skill. Right you are, sir, Rowan agrees. From behind the table, I see the ball rapidly pass from the cup to his hand, then from his hand into another cup in a single, fluid motion. No magic, just a simple, skillful cheat. This time, The Templar guesses wrong, and a delighted Rowan lifts all the cups to prove it. The Templar murmurs. Well done. I did not see that. Your mastery of your craft is impressive, young man. I have to say though, I think it is a waste of your talent. You could do much more than this. Rowan shrugs, still smiling. Unless that's a job offer, sir, there's not much more I can do for now. The Templar sits forward. And if it is? Silence hangs over the table, Rowan looking genuinely dumbfounded for once. I'd have to think about it, is all he manages to say. Please do, the Templar says, nodding politely. He holds out a hand, which Rowan takes into a firm shake. And you take care too, little miss, he continues, holding his hand out to me as well. Instinctively, I pull back, shying away. I don't know what Templars can do. Touching that hand might be the end of me. I have a stolen human soul inside my body. I latch onto Rowan, hugging him and burrowing my face into his side like a frightened child. Actually being frightened for my life probably helps sell it. Sorry, Rowan says apologetically, patting the top of my head. She's shy. The Templar sighs, sounding a bit dejected at the prospect of being so scary. Well, he says, setting the palm he held out down on the table. This is for her. Make sure you get her something good to eat, young man. His hand lifts, revealing a rather large coin. Will do, sir, Rowan says cautiously. The Templar nods and wanders off. I make sure to keep hugging Rowan until he's long gone. As a strategic maneuver, of course. Not because Rowan is warm and I like it. And not because his soul is pretty, either. Yeah, okay, it was all those things. I don't exactly get a lot of hugs. I'm going to savor this one while I can. Plus, Rowan's rainbow swirl soul is just delectable. Well kiddo, looks like you just got your first tip, Rowan eventually murmurs. I think now's a good time to pack up for the day. Yeah, I agree. The two of us do just that, gathering Rowan's props and making our way back to the hideout. He's abnormally quiet the whole time, though I certainly don't mind. The only things left for me to talk about are best done somewhere private. On the way home, it's so weird to have a home, as pathetic as mine is. Rowan uses the coin the Templar gave me to buy food. Enough food for all of the orphans, with change. It's going to be another well-fed day, apparently. 2 in a row was almost unheard of. I return to the shack and help hand out the meals. There's no cheering or weeping for the bountiful harvest, only ravenous mouths trying to survive. Yet while they don't show it, I know they're grateful. I was just like them a few weeks ago, and not really all that different now. With dinner served, Rowan and I retreat to the hidey hole below. He takes a glass and fills it with water from the bucket, sipping lightly before speaking. All right, kid. What did you want to talk about? Many things, but instead of saying them I blurt, I like your soul. Rowan spit takes, saliva and water showering the area around me. What? It's, cute, I clarify, face rapidly turning red. And pretty. It feels like a rainbow that moves. And it's big. Not as big as Lynn's, but much bigger than, I peter off, my words dying under Rowan's concerned gaze. Why the hell did I say all of that? You're, really taking to this, huh? Rowan murmurs, daring to sip a bit more water. Lynn said I should use it. It's part of who I am. And, I don't think I can not feel people's souls when I touch them. It just happens. He nods slowly, setting his glass on a nearby table. Ah. Okay. That makes sense. You awaken to an extra set of perceptions, then. That must be interesting. I guess. I'll just take the compliment, then. I nod, smiling. Are you gonna take the job? He frowns, tilting his chair back. Well, that's the thing, kiddo. For the life of me, I can't figure out what the fuck the job even is. What could a Templar want from a half-baked kinemancier that runs street cons? They've gotta have way better mages than me. And that bribe? I dunno, it smells fishy to me. Am not a kiddo, I insist. Right. Anyway, Vita, didn't you have something to say about you? I nod as he picks up his cup for another drink. I think the Mistwatcher ate part of my soul last night. Once again, that drink ends up on my face. Rowan chokes and pounds on his sternum as I try to wipe myself dry. Please stop doing that, I request. It's not easy to get all that water. Stop saying crazy shit, then. The Mistwatcher ate your soul. Just a little bit of it. I took a sliver out and put it in Roscoe. My, stuffed bird. And it worked. He could move around and give me hugs. But then, in the middle of the night, something infinite and uncaring passed over me, dripping on imagined dreams and oozing on dreamt realities. It could not touch, but it touched me anyway, caressing me absently as it stole, murdered, devoured some little shard, ignoring my mute, uncomprehending terror. Took it. Rowan frowned. And you think this thing was the Mistwatcher? Why? I hug myself tightly. What else could it be? Rowan nods slowly. Any number of things we don't know about. But if something grabs wayward bits of soul, that would at least explain why the whole damn island isn't covered in soul stuff from dead rats. I frown, thinking. Yeah. But nothing ate Greg. Except me, I mean. And I had him for longer. Rowan's smile strained. Whoops, I'm talking casually about soul murder again. Well, maybe it just eats at night. No, that doesn't make sense. If that were the case, naturally formed zombies would die at night. Could it be the materials? There aren't any like soul-controlled puppets that occur naturally, but you can find zombies at pretty much any battleground. I frown, nodding. Using dead bodies feels better, too. I just wanted to hug Roscoe. Rowan's smile becomes outright pained. Shit, was it the dead bodies thing? He tries to hide it with a drink of water, but his perfect poker face from the game seems to fail on the subject of me. Sorry, I murmur. I'm kinda getting used to this really fast, I guess. Yeah, Rowan sighs. Well, it feels good to do things we're good at. I can imagine how excited you are to have something special about you, that only you can do. But try not to forget, Vita, you are a death mage. You can't take power like that lightly. I will help you as much as I can, Vita. I promise. But I need you to promise me not to lose your humanity along the way. Okay? That's easier said than done, Rowan. I'm already a living blasphemy, doesn't that disqualify me by default? I might need some help with that, I blurt, trying to push down tears. It was such a hard thing to say, for some reason. I feel like I'm almost a totally different person lately. Everything before now is just an awful blur. Starving day after day, barely surviving, being nobody, but now I can just kill people. I ran into these two murderers today. Just standing over a body. I thought they were gonna kill me too. I look up at him, terrified. His face is serious, but he's listening. So I decided to kill them first. I planned it. They didn't attack, but if they had I would have ripped one apart and made him kill his friend. I think. They tried to recruit me after that. A long silence stretches between the two of us. Rowan takes another drink of water. You're way too young for all this, kid, he says. Am not a kid, I answer, scowling. Yeah, Rowan agrees. Maybe not. Overhead, the familiar pitter-patter sound of rain begins. Aw shit, is the Mist Thimble here already? We gotta go board up, Vita. Come on. I nod, following Rowan up the ladder. And Vita? We'll help with all that for sure. Lynn and I are in this with you all the way. But you have to decide the person you want to be. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Rowan. With the kids working together, it doesn't take us long to seal the shack for rain. Nighttime now fallen, everyone gets into bed to sleep. Lynn, however, is oddly absent. Not returning before dark was odd for her, and I can't help but worry. On the bright side, at least the Mistwatcher didn't come back tonight. I know this for sure, because I didn't sleep a single second. Chapter 8. Hey, Vita. You okay? Rowan's face peeks over me as I stare up at the ceiling. I nod slowly, not wanting to talk about how awful I really feel. Well, you look like shit, Vita, Rowan says, apparently unfooled. Did you sleep at all? I shake my head no. How could I? No matter how exhausted I was, the panic kept my eyes open. What if it returned? Rowan sighs. Okay. You need to stay in bed, kiddo. Get some rest. You didn't sleep through Craig's car either, right? How long have you been up now? Over 30 hours, at least. That's not good for you. I do want sleep. I'm exhausted beyond belief. Yet I have to know. Where's Lynn? I murmur. I don't know, Rowan says, tossing off his nightshirt and throwing on something fresh. But I have a few good guesses, and I'm gonna go find her. You stay here and sleep, okay? No following me. I frown and nod. Rowan was very much in his no arguments mode. Finishing his preparations, Rowan stands up with a stretch and makes for the slab of wood that the shack uses as a door. Alright, kiddos, I'm heading out. Stay out of trouble, okay? For a moment, I almost ask him to stay with me. To help me fall asleep, to be there in case it comes back. But I can't do that. He has to go help Lynn. I clutch Roscoe tightly to my chest, willing my body not to shake. Is Lynn gonna be okay? I ask. Yeah, Vita, Rowan says. I think so. She was probably just out late and holed up somewhere for the rain. We'll be back before you know it. Just make sure to rest, okay? I nod. Okay. He nods back and departs, leaving me alone with the other kids. I grab a spare shirt to wrap around my eyes, blocking out the light. With Roscoe cuddled close and cloak wrapped around me alongside the blankets, I rest. I wait. And eventually, finally, I nod off to sleep. Ever shifting, ever changing. A beautiful, multifaceted rainbow. Warm, huge, pulsing like a heart. Kindness and light. Two souls I felt so closely. No one has ever treated me like Lynn and Rowan. They fed me. They helped me. They accepted me. They did all this and expected nothing in return. I recall the day I insisted I wanted to help, barely 2 weeks ago. The surprise on their faces. The fire they lit in my heart. My whole life, I had nothing. I was worth nothing. Survival was my only concern, and I hadn't even been particularly good at it. But they filled that emptiness within me. I can only imagine my own soul, before that day. Tiny. Weak. Black. A dread nothingness, hopelessness personified. It looks the same, still. So small, so dark. Yet now, something bright flashes inside, like lightning striking within a cloud. It grows. Someday, the flashing light will break free, and not even I know what I will become. A second soul floats within me as well. Dull, tinted red. A monochrome person, fractured and barely functional. There is something wrong with this soul, as large as it was. Yet I know it would be delicious no matter what. When I dissolved a person into nothing but materials, all that mattered was their size. I hunger for it. I am so weak. So frail. In body and soul, I am almost nothing. I couldn't help it. I have to eat. I tear the stored soul out of myself, gulping it down greedily. The kids ask what I'm doing and I kill them too, ripping their lives free from their bodies. Souls everywhere. Lynn and Rowan return, and I am waiting. They can't fight back against the zombies I made from the bodies, they are too weak in heart. They die and I eat them as well, together for, with a scream I wake up, a chill sweat clinging to my body. What was? I didn't. A quick look around and I see the kids are fine. The soul I'd taken yesterday is still safely inside me. Rowan and Lynn are down the hatch, one of the kids says, causing me to jump in terror. Down the hatch? Oh God, did I really? Rowan and Lynn said you should join them down the hatch. In the secret spot. When you wake up, he continues. Right. Right, duh, that makes more sense. Casting off the last throes of the dream, I stand up, shaking. Everyone is okay. I'm okay. I don't realize I'm still hugging Roscoe in a death grip until I try to go down the ladder. Whatever, I'll bring him with. It's okay if Lynn and Rowan see. I spot them immediately. They are both sitting down next to each other, Lynn leaning on him. Rowan looks completely exhausted. He's worn down, depressed, confused. Lynn, meanwhile, looks kind of like I did after Greg got his hands on me, back when he was still alive. She's beaten bloody, her face a complete mess of bruises and swelling. I suspect her condition is similar underneath her leather armor. "Hey, Vita," Lynn rasps out as I hop off the ladder. "Did he sleep well, kiddo?" I swallow. "No, not at all, but this was hardly the time for that." "What happened?" Lynn laughs. "Fuck, but it sounds so genuine, even through her obvious pain. Screwed up a joint job. Business partners weren't happy. It's not as bad as it looks, kiddo." "I'm not a kiddo," I protest automatically. Yeah, of course. "Sorry, Vita." She tries to grin, but her mouth is a red mess of missing teeth. A boiling feeling wells up inside of me, demanding death. Lynn is. She's just so good. Who would hurt Lynn? Who would dare? I'm going to tear these bastards apart. No, I'm just some kid. There's nothing I can do. The knowledge of my weakness douses my anger. I am weak, I barely know what's going on, and I made a promise to Rowan as well. Caution and care. That's how I have to deal with this. But it would be dealt with. For now, though, far more important things are right in front of me. I step in and wrap my arms around Lynn, ever so gently. Even with how physically broken she is, her soul is still so warm and bright. "What happened?" I asked quietly. "Like I said, kiddo, I just messed up," Lynn says dismissively. I break off the hug so I can look her in the eyes. Even holding on to a stuffed animal doesn't detract from the intensity of my stare. I'm not a kid. Don't hide stuff from me. I want to help. Rowan and Lynn share a look. "Vita, I'm not sure this is something you can help with," Rowan says frankly. "I can do a lot, I insist. I'm weak and maybe I don't know much. Not yet, anyway. But I can help. I will. You've helped me for a year. Let me do the same. And if you don't, I'll find out on my own. Vita, please trust me when I say you should not be getting involved with," Rowan starts. "No, fuck it," Lynn says, cutting him off. "Vita, Rowan and I are in big time Mundo debt. In exchange for this place we live in and assurance that the nasty types mess with the kids, Rowan and I work for the mob." I frown. If I recall correctly, the mob in charge of this area was the Broken Dragons? She nods. "Yeah, those guys. We failed a big job yesterday 'cause I showed up so late. The boss was, not happy." She scratches the back of her head, wincing. "I'll be fighting fit in a week or so, everything should be fine. You know how it is, the men just have to show how tough they are." She laughs again, though it regresses into a coughing, hacking mess before too long. She wipes a bit of spit blood from her lips. "There's no need to worry, kiddo. Really. I didn't exactly enjoy getting my shit kicked in, but it's just what happens. You've been there, right?" "Yeah, and then I killed the guy who did that to me," I say flatly. "Vita," Rowan begins warningly, but I talk over him for perhaps the first time in my life. "I wanted to kill him," I continue. "I really did. When he was just beating me to death. When I saw how much he hated me. How little he cared about anything that happened to me. How disgusting and angry and evil he was. When I saw how much he wanted me to die. I wanted him to die first, so I could live." I watch them both carefully. They are silent, expectant. I don't think they've ever heard me say this much at once. I'm not sure I ever have. "That feeling is how I learned my power," I continue. "Now, I feel your souls every time I touch you. I dreamt about eating them when I slept. I'm terrified, Lynn. I don't want to be a killer, I don't want to be a monster. But you can't tell me that when you were getting beaten to a pulp that you thought you deserved it. You can't tell me that you don't want to get back at them. You can't tell me that we all wouldn't be better off if you were free. A long, pregnant pause fills the room after that, only broken by another set of wet coughs from Lynn. You've really been thinking about all that, huh, kiddo? Lynn murmurs after catching her breath. Not a kiddo, I answer. No, she agrees again. I guess not. Do you actually have a way to help? Roan asks. I shouldn't need to remind you that using your powers publicly will get you killed, or worse. Even most criminals would report you to the Templars. Nobody fucks around with soul magic, Vita. Nobody except us, I counter. You get kinda sassy when you're fed and rested, don't you? Lynn comments with a grin. It's a valid question, though. What do you expect to actually do? I frown, thinking. It's not that I didn't have ideas, it's that I had too many and didn't know enough about any of them. Rowan, did you figure out what that Templar wanted with you? I ask. What? Lynn yelps, shocked. Templar? No, I haven't, Rowan says, scowling. Had he wanted to keep that a secret? It's been kind of a busy day, Vita. A Templar implied heavily that he had a job offer for me, Lynn. I don't know why. Well, I think you should figure out why, I say. Rowan sits backwards. I'd probably be out doing that now if one of my kids wasn't a friggin' animancer. How many times do I have to emphasize how dangerous it is for you to get close to them? If I'm close to them, and you're close to me. I scowl. Don't ignore it because of me. The Templars might be able to find zombies and stuff, we don't know for sure. But I had another soul inside when the Templar talked to us, and he didn't seem to notice a thing. So maybe I can't raise an army or whatever, but I can eat souls to get stronger. Roan sighs, but it's a concessionary sigh. Vita. If you don't want to be a monster, why the hell are you even thinking about eating souls? I take a deep breath. Time for stupid idea number 1. What if I got souls outside the walls? What? Lynn and Roan yell together. Vita, that's fucking crazy, Lynn continues. You'll die out there. You have no idea how powerful monsters can be. Hunters do it, I point out. I could join the Hunters Guild. And hunters die. Besides, you can't be a hunter. You're weak, Vita. I'm weak, by hunter standards. They'd take one look at you and throw you out of the guild. You don't have weapons, you don't have armor. You can't show them your powers. The guild is pretty desperate, but they wouldn't even let you on a beginner team. I can get those things. And I can hide my powers. You said monsters are strong? And they have souls? It's not wrong to eat monsters' souls, right? They are not people. I know it's dangerous, but I could get really strong this way, Lynn. Then I can come back and help. Lynn shakes her head. Roan scratches his mutton chops, looking increasingly concerned. It's a risky idea, Roan says, and we don't know if it's wrong to eat monster souls. But all ways of getting strong are risky, Lynn. You know that. Still, I'd like to hear if you have any better ideas. I nod. I don't know about better, but I had ideas. Do you know a fat guy and a thin guy who go by Squigs and Frigs? Lynn's face immediately darkens. Where did you hear about them? She asks. I ran into them on my walk the other day. I saw them kill a guy. Then I got really sassy at them and they tried to recruit me, I think. I can be sassy when hungry, too. They're hired killers, Vita, Lynn says, scowling. I nod. I figured as much. I could get strong pretty fast if I joined up with them as well. Vita, you can't be an assassin. Lynn shouts, horrified. Why not? I counter back. I'm a necromancer, Lynn. I have death magic. You're the one who told me that's part of who I am. Anything I do is going to involve death. She shuts her mouth. Besides, the assassins are going to kill people no matter what. This way, I'll be in a better position to kill other assassins too. Make the city a little safer. Lynn shakes her head, an expression of sadness taking her. Vita. Please. You can't think like that. Even killers have people who love them. Every death is a tragedy. I scowl. It's hard to disagree with that, but I want to. Did Greg's family miss him? I suppose I don't know, but I sure as hell wouldn't miss someone that beat me raw for baking bread wrong. My only other idea was to join the broken Drakens with you and we could try to take them apart from the inside. I say frankly. I could help you guys out with what you do, we could work together, we could maybe make things better. Eventually, we could take them down. Absolutely not, Rowan says firmly. You are drastically overestimating yourself, Vita. Where are you even getting these ideas? You're not a criminal mastermind, you're not a trained hunter, you're a supposedly 16-year-old girl that we can barely feed enough to keep alive. The leader of the Broken Drakens has crushed more than one attempted uprising, and you're not the picture of subtlety. You don't understand these people, Vita. You're just going to get used as a pawn, chewed up, and spat out. Assuming you even survive. So what do you want me to do, then? I shout. Nothing. I'm fucking tired of doing nothing. That's not the person I want to be anymore. I'm not going to sit here and let them take all the money you make, Rowan. I'm definitely not going to wait around while Lynn gets the shit beaten out of her. And you know what? You can't stop me from doing what I want. So are you going to help or not? For a moment, all I hear is my own panting breath. I'm so worked up I can barely stand it. Is this it? Are they so obsessed with helping me that they wouldn't accept my help? Lynn sighs. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've got your back for anything, Vita. You're family. And if this is what you have to do, you don't have to ask, kiddo. I'll help. I'm not a, yeah, I know, she says, cutting me off. Forgive us, would you, Vita? You grew up really damn fast. Now it's Rowan's turn to sigh. He only has one thing to say, though. So which one are you thinking? I don't like any of those options, but if you insist on picking one, it may as well be your favorite. I mean, the choice is obvious, isn't it? I say. I promised you, Rowan. Rowan raises an eyebrow as Lynn looks on in confusion. I promised you I wouldn't lose my humanity. So I don't want to kill humans to get stronger. I want to help people. Hunters do that, right? They work together and keep people safe. They are heroes. Lynn smiles broadly. You say something like that while holding a stuffed animal and expect me not to call you kiddo? She jokes. I scowl. Leave Roscoe out of this. She busts out into laughter, not stopping even as she begins to choke. Rowan just shakes his head. It's not that simple, Vita. It never is. No person and no organization is all good or all bad. The Hunters Guild is going to have its infighting and politics the same as anyone else. But they are not assassins or mobsters, right? I press. Rowan looks pained. No, Vita, they are not assassins or mobsters. You do still have a point. But we're going to have to bust our asses getting you prepared for the fucking Hunters Guild. You'll need so much more food just to look like you're not dying. I frown. I don't want to take food from the others. We'll work something out, kiddo. I'm gonna have to steal you some gear, Lynn says, finally recovering from her laughing fit. We're gonna have to at least wait until I'm healed up for that. I nod. That reminds me. Can you teach me to sense danger like you? Rowan says I might have a talent for it, and it seems like it would be really helpful. Lynn grins. Yeah. Well, I dunno actually. Maybe. I'll definitely give it a shot. I dunno if I'm the teaching type, but it's not like I'll have anything better to do. Okay. I wanna test some things real fast. Can you sense me right now? I ask. Is anything weird? She peers at me, head tilting. It's always on, so yeah. You feel pretty much the same as before, though. Why? I push the other human soul I've been hiding out of my arm, letting it rest on my palm. Do you feel anything different now? Lynn shakes her head. Still the same, Vita. Okay. I'm gonna eat this soul, then. Tell me if I feel different then. They blink. Wait. You're holding a soul? Lynn asks. Vida, where did you get that? I tilt my head. I told you. I ran into those assassin guys. I took the soul of the guy they killed. You're going to eat a man's soul? Rowan asks slowly. I frown, thinking about it. Why wouldn't I? I need to know if it's safe to store souls I find in my body. It seems like Lynn can't detect it, but maybe that's just because it's too small. If she notices a change after I eat it, that means it's hidden from her danger sense thing. If she doesn't, then we don't know whether or not her danger sense can detect larger souls. There might be other good uses for it later, but this seems like something that's best to know now. Yeah, I decide. They both stare at me. Is that weird? I wonder hesitantly. It's just... What happens to the soul when you eat it, Vida? Rowan asks. It becomes part of me, I answer immediately. So, that person, that individual, is living inside you? No, I tell them, shaking my head. They are dead. The soul gets all dissolved and stuff. So, the person never gets to go to the afterlife? Rowan asks. Oh, that's what he's worried about. I squeeze Roscoe a little. I don't really know. Maybe they get to go when I die. I'm sure they get put back together. There's no way I'm powerful enough to invalidate the afterlife, right? I hope that's right. I really hope that's right. Rowan scratches his head. Yeah. I guess there's no way, right? Do your experiment. I nod, then look at Lynn. After a short pause, she nods too. I open my mouth wide and drop the soul down my throat, letting the feeling of raw, dissolved power flow through me. It's the best meal I've had since Greg. I feel a little calmer, a little more clear-headed. Yep, Lynn mutters as I start to come down from the euphoria. I definitely felt that. It's not a big difference, but it's a difference. You're stronger. I nod. No snacking in front of people with a danger sense, then. One more thing I want to test. Reaching my hand forward, I concentrate as hard as I can. When my hand is 4 inches away from Lynn, I feel it. That warm, beautiful soul. Twice as far as last time, I murmur. I get better at sensing souls the more I eat, I think. Lynn's eyebrows raise. Do you even need my help, then? She asks. She will, Rowan insists. Raw power is nice, but technique makes a huge difference too. If you actually learn how to do it right instead of just thinking really hard at it, Vida, I think it'll help even more than the soul eating shit. Okay, I agree. Can you help me get some animal souls anyway, though? He sighs. Yeah. Sure. I give Rowan a huge hug, which he accepts with middling grace. I have a plan, it sounds like. Train, learn, eat, grow. And once I can survive it, the Hunters Guild awaits. I never imagined I'd get a legal job. All I needed was some illegal magic to nab it. Chapter 9. It came as no surprise me that training was horrible, uncomfortable, and exhausting. What did come as a surprise is how much I dreaded it because of those things. It should be welcome, right? My whole life has been horrible, exhausting, and uncomfortable. A new and exciting kind of horrible shouldn't really be that much of a turnoff, yet there's no way I could have ever done this alone. I could never have pushed myself without Lynn and Rowan barking orders at me the whole time. It would have been so easy to give up. My pathetic body can barely handle what was being thrown at it, but mentally, I was even more unprepared for this. I just wanted to collapse into a ball and go back to starving. In many ways, that was still preferable. I had insisted that I didn't want people to give up meals for me, but it was definitely happening anyway and I couldn't say no. Just another weakness of character, I guess. But like, I had meat. Just bits, but I had them. Meat was expensive, since it had to be treated with biomancy to ensure it was safe. I still couldn't believe I was getting any. It was such a waste. I was still tiny, I was still weak. After years and years of malnourishment, that might not ever change. Yet over the course of a few weeks, my meals kept getting bigger and better. Rowan had to be taking on a lot more debt to afford it. I knew that. I hated it. I didn't deserve it. It all tasted so good, but it felt so oddly awful for something so happy. There's talent and then there's talent, kiddo, Lynn had said. As long as you survive, as long as you get stronger, it will be worth it. You make good on your plan, okay? I couldn't protest that. It hurt too much to try. It didn't feel like the physical training was getting me stronger, though. I knew it was. I didn't doubt Rowan and Lynn, but to me, it just hurt. Push-ups. Sit-ups. Jogs. Constant physical pain. At least I was starting to look less like a skeleton. Every once in a while I'd poke at myself when no one was watching, grinning giddily from the simple joy of feeling something besides tendons and bone. Rowan told me the strength of my soul was helping to grow my body into a healthier state, now that I was eating the physical mass to make it possible. Body and soul worked hand in hand, he said. When one was weaker, the other helped make it stronger. I asked how that applied to undead. He gave me a look and said he didn't know. While my physical diet was much improved, I couldn't help but notice I looked forward to the soul diet just as much. It was mostly rat souls. Rowan paid the kids to help catch live rats for me. I ended up being given a big bucket of the squirmy little things every day or two, letting me indulge in a delicious, otherworldly cacophony of flavor. Reaching a gloved hand into the bucket, I could tear out whole handfuls of souls at once, slurping them like some kind of queen indulging in a bowl of grapes. Rat souls weren't very large, but I was surprised how varied they were. Some rats had larger souls than others. Some rats were brighter, some were darker. They had all sorts of different colors and textures. They weren't like human souls, not quite. But there was just enough individuality to them to make me wonder. I'd repay the favor. I had to, now. The non-physical side of training was much more fun. I finally got the hang of sensing souls from a distance, and it was wow. The first time I sensed Rowan's soul from across the room I cheered. That range just kept growing, though. A room. A house. A city block. More and more life started to pop into my senses, every color and sound and taste and feel imaginable. The souls were not truly any of those things. They had no flavor and they shed no light, but it was the only way I could understand them. The sense was new. It was hearing for the first time, feeling for the first time, seeing for the first time all in one. An incredible amount of information was flowing into me at once, endless lives moving around in a dazzling swarm, each one beautiful and unique. After a while, my detection range stopped growing. But it was a pretty damn long range. Ironically, Rowan was actually way more help with figuring out my soul sense than Lynn was. Almost all of Lynn's training was on how to fight. It took a while to figure out something that clicked with me, but after numerous struggles I eventually settled on a wooden kite spear Lynn managed to pick up somewhere. Lynn made me promise to warm up with spear drills every day, so that's what I've been doing, but I'm not great with it. Months pass with my new routine, and eventually comes the work I know will be far more difficult, not to mention deadly. Today's the day. I have a fresh, nasty-smelling set of armor. I have a spear. I have a valuable skill for hunter teams that could be passed off as something other than heresy. Just keep looking forward. I can do this. I have to do this. The Hunters Guild building looks like a relatively modest place from the outside, but it doesn't require advertising. If you want to leave the city walls, you need the Hunters Guild, or else gamble with the plethora of unregulated mercenary teams that were the only alternative. The guild has a reputation for excellence. People still die on outings more often than not, but they die less often when they're with hunters. The inside isn't much more interesting, a few tables, a desk, a receptionist. All the important stuff is through the doors behind her. Some of the souls past those doors are very strong. I have an appointment today, I murmur to the woman behind the desk, standing up as straight as I can. The counter nearly comes up to my neck. She says non-committally. Name? Vida, ma'am. Don't have a fight, mom, kid. I blink. No, my name is Vita. Ah. Yeah. Okay, sit down, I'll let Remus know you're here. I have way too much anxiety to sit down, so I pace instead. It would have seemed like a waste of energy before, but now I can afford it. Better to keep moving and keep building up my stamina. After all, you look like you'll die before I even send you after a monster, a scarred old man grunts, opening one of the doors from deeper within. He's strong, real strong. One of the strongest I've ever felt. His soul is hard and cool, like running my hand over a stone at night. It's much, much bigger than Lynn's. Heavy burns mar the left side of his face, preventing him from showing more than half an expression. His graying hair betrays quite a bit of age, but his skin is pulled tight over a rippling frame of muscle. He wears armor made of massive scales, unlike anything I've seen up close before. How old are you, anyway? 12? He grunts. I'm 16, sir, I stammer out, standing at attention as best I can. Course you are, he grunts noncommittally, looking me over with a critical eye. Fine. Come with me. Unable to suppress a bit of a scowl at that comment, I follow him through the doors, down a hall, and eventually into a large, enclosed courtyard. Geez, his soul was neat. Wait, no, don't imagine eating him. Time for your interview, he says flatly. First question, kid, what gave you the dumbfuck idea that being a hunter was anything other than a job for suicidal idiots? How? Direct. I'm not quite sure how to respond to that, but I doubt stopping to think about it is a good idea. Thankfully, an answer comes to mind. People die, sir, I tell him. No shit, he responds blandly. No, I mean, people die in and out of the walls. They die from age or murder or stupidity. I'm going to die no matter what. I just want to make sure I live doing something I can be proud of. He sneers. You think mucking around in blood and guts and monster shit is something to be proud of? Maybe not always, sir. But it looked like I was probably gonna have to kill things to stay alive, sir. I decided I wanted those things to be monsters. He frowns, looking a lot more carefully at that. Shit, that was more honest than I had intended. Maybe that was too much info. He just lets it slide, thankfully. Have you ever been outside the walls, kid? Have you ever seen a monster? Well, it's not like I own a mirror, so. No, sir. Born and raised in the city, sir. I recognize I don't know a lot. Yeah, I fucking know you don't know a lot, you worthless slime. What are you going to do when a 20-ton lizard decides it wants you for a snack? I blink. Well, I suppose I would try to run towards something slower than me, sir. He stares. And leave your team to die. If I have a team and I'm not the one slowing them down, I suppose I'd do what I can, sir. But if my team is fighting something way above our ability to take down, and presumably a team with me on it isn't being sent out to fight 20-ton lizards on purpose, we'd want to distract and disengage, right? He stares intently, giving no indication whether that was right or wrong. Next question, then. Why would a team want you? What do you offer the Hunters Guild? Oh boy. Here was the big one. I'm a natural scout, sir. I can sense living things from extremely far away. That got a reaction. His expression turned intense. Oh. How far? About 200 meters, sir. Better than most. How accurate? Very accurate. I'm also unaffected by obstructions. He raises his one eyebrow. How many people are in this building? I start to count as quickly as I can, mouthing the numbers to myself. Didn't realize speed math was going to be part of hunter training. 32. And, 24 things that aren't people. Not counting cats, rats, bugs. I could count those all day, sir. He frowns, humming in consideration. Anything else you can do? What, he wants more? I'm pretty much relying on the scout thing. Panic kicks in, and I let my mouth say the first thing that comes to mind. I also make a good mascot, "Sir," I say, as flatly as I can muster. "I'm very small." He stares at me. I stare back at him, refusing to blink or make any kind of expression. Then, faster than I can react, he kicks me in the stomach, sending me sprawling in a heap onto the yard. "You can just say no next time," he grunts. Time for the combat test. So I cough, hacking out a bit of bile. "So I noticed. Monsters aren't going to appreciate your banter, kid. Stand up and try to hit me." Refusing to let out a groan of pain, I draw my spear off my back, standing up into the battle stance Lin taught me. He just stands there like the arrogant, cheap-shotting prick he is. Although I suppose it can't be that much arrogance when he's very obviously way stronger than me. Approaching cautiously, I use a trick Lin taught me, jabbing at his stomach, then moving the arc of the swing down towards his back leg, trying to catch him as he retreats. Unfortunately, he's just too damn fast, avoiding the attack effortlessly before striking out with a punch to my face. I fail to dodge, but manage to at least avoid collapsing to the ground. "Good," he says, despite my rapidly swelling face. "Fights are strong against smaller monsters. Just don't try it on any monster large enough to not fear you." Again. I attack again, pretending to use the same trick but actually following up the jab to the stomach. Another dodge and a kick to my chest is all I get for my trouble. Fucking hell, he got me right in the damn nipple. That has been hurting a lot lately, for some reason. With sheer force of will, I don't yelp in pain. Over and over, I take a blow whenever I try to give one. Over and over, I get the same response, again. Damn it, I'm really starting to hate this man. Yet I keep fighting. What else can I do? He's demanding it, and I need this. I need the Hunters Guild. Besides, it's not like I haven't had worse beatings. An hour passes. 2 hours. Again and again, I am thrashed into the dirt. Panting, wheezing, I keep going. I keep trying. Yet not even once do I land a hit on the man. An eternity later, a blow to my stomach knocks me down cold. I can barely even breathe anymore, trying to stand but lacking the strength. I have to though. I have to. Slowly, I try to struggle into a sitting position. And that damn bastard walks over and puts a foot on my chest, slamming me back into the ground. Pain screams through me. "Your stamina leaves much to be desired, and you're a complete novice in combat," he says blandly. I punch him in the leg. He kicks me in the face. Seeing stars, all I can think about is how much I want to kill this man. "Your fundamentals aren't bad, but you clearly have no experience using them. You're a pathetic fighter." I grab his boot, snarling. He'll see how much of a pathetic fighter I am when I eat his fucking, a whip of his foot, and I'm sent flying across the courtyard. I tumble through the grass, battered, bruised, and bloody. "If you want to get beaten worse than this every day, you're hired," he says. Then he turns and walks out of the courtyard. Fuck. I need this. I don't have any other options. What time? Should I come back? Tomorrow. I manage to choke out. He pauses, looking back at me for a moment. I think. The half of his face that moves is smiling a bit. "For now, I would suggest not leaving," he says. I try to nod, but it hurts too much. I pass out instead, blissful sleep taking me. I dream of holding his soul in my hands. Chapter 10. This isn't really my specialty, an annoyed woman's voice complains somewhere above me. I don't see her, since my eyes are closed. My eyes are closed because I'm lying on the ground, in a ton of pain. The woman's soul is interesting. Jagged and sharp on the top, bubbly and ever-shifting on the bottom. It's fun to watch. Well, learn to make it your specialty, and learn fast. Remus, aka the asshole who beat the shit out of me, gravels. You're going to be your squad's last lifeline, so you need to be good at it. I didn't say I wasn't good at it, the woman grumbles, kneeling down next to me. Cut the back talk and heal her, Remus snaps back. She's going to be your first line of defense, so do it right. Ugh. This pipsqueak? Comes the muttered reply, but she puts her hands on me anyway. The familiar tingle of magic pushes itself into my body, and I let it. Letting it wasn't a thing I could do before, but Rowan helped teach me that, as well. The strength of my will will fight against magic being cast into my body, and my defense is apparently above average. I could lower that automatic defense if I know what I'm doing, and I do so now. No sense making it harder for this girl to heal me. Are you sure, Remus? She's so weak. This bitch. I open my eyes and glare at her, putting my magic resistance back up. Her spell fizzles, its effects banished from my body. You're not good at the no backtalk thing, huh? I ask her. She turns red with embarrassment, looking pissed. One look at her face and I already don't like this girl. She's got blonde, curly hair, and it's styled like someone who actually has the time to style hair. Loops and swirls, all bobby and fancy. Her clothes are expensive as hell, and while I see some impressive armor underneath it, she's very much going for form on top of her function. What a waste. And that round face. She's probably never starved a day in her life. Not that. I mean, it wasn't bad to not starve, but still. She's attractive, rich, and comfortable. She's everything I'm not. And her soul is bigger than mine. Though that probably means I shouldn't piss her off too much. I thought you were asleep. She snaps. Why didn't you move? Was comfy, I answer simply, dropping my resistance again to let her literally work her magic. Vita, this is Penelope, Remus says. She's part of the team you'll be on. You're biomancer. Penelope, Vita will be your scout. Oh, shoot. I'd definitely better step way back on a hating her thing. Lynn told me 20 times not to piss off anyone I need to stay alive. Thanks for the heal, I mutter, giving her a thumbs up. How did people become friends again? They asked questions about each other, right? If this isn't your specialty, what is? She snorts derisively, hands moving over the outside of my shirt as she wills my body to start repairing itself. Necrotic diseases and cellular degeneration, she says, scowling. I don't know what that means. She rolls her eyes. It means you die. Taking a body apart is much easier than putting it back together. And therefore a better use of my time and energy. The monsters can't wound you if they're dead. Now I knew that wasn't true. Probably a bad idea to correct her, though. Well, thanks for putting me back together anyway. What's next? Compliments? Compliments are good. Did you biomancer your hair to look that good, or is it naturally pretty? She blinks, turning away a little. Well, I'm a natural biomancer, so she biomanced it. Ugh. Is making your hair pretty also a better use of your time and energy? I say before I can stop myself. Oh, would you shut up? She snaps back. Quit yammering while I work. You're beat half to death. How did you lose this badly? You can't possibly be old enough to work here. I'm 60, oh, like hell you are. I bet you don't even bleed yet. I shut up, scowling. Don't hate the biomancer, don't hate the biomancer. She does actually heal me, at least. 5 minutes later, I'm crazy hungry but otherwise not in any more pain. So better than average. There. Done, she says, turning and immediately moving to leave the courtyard. That's fine by me, I suppose. Remus looks down at me as I sit up. You're going to live here while we train you. You got anyone to say goodbye to? I nod. He nods back. Then we'll get you some food and you can go talk to them. If you're not back in 2 hours, don't come back. I nod again, following him as he exits. He throws a whole loaf of bread at me, and I munch on it as I jog back to the shack. Tearing off half the loaf, I share it with the kids, hugging them all before heading down below. Half a loaf of bread probably isn't enough to eat off that biomancy heal, but that's not as important. Rowan and Lynn are waiting for me below. Vita? Lynn says, looking my way as I jump down the ladder. How did it go? The people in the Hunters Guild are all assholes, I complain. Most people are assholes, Rowan says slowly. So? I spent the whole time getting beat up and insulted. Lynn's smile looks a bit fragile. "Bah, you don't look beat up," she says. "Well, no. The insults were from their answer. She's some sassy rich bitch." I kick at the floor, looking despondent. A little bit of dread creeps deeper into Lynn and Rowan's faces. But honestly, I can't hide the huge smile inside me for any longer. It blossoms on my face, full and joyful. But fuck her. I did it. I'm in. Despair swaps to shock and just as quickly into uproarious, whooping cheers. Lynn and Rowan rush over and grab me, picking me up into a gigantic hug sandwich. "You did it. You really did it." Lynn cheers. I nod rapidly, returning the hug to both of them. "I can really squeeze now." "You little scamp." Rowan chastises happily, nuzzling me. "Don't scare us like that. You do it enough as is." I laugh, too happy to protest at how childishly I'm being paraded around the room in Lynn's and Rowan's arms. "I love you guys. I promise I'll make good on our agreement. They want me to live there, so one less mouth to feed, right? Once they pay me, I'll pay you back. As much and then some. So stay safe, okay? Stay safe." "You're telling us to stay safe?" Lynn laughs. "You'd better not fucking die out there, Vita, or I'll become a necromancer myself just to bring you back and kick your ass." "I won't die, I promise. No matter what it takes. I'll live." "Good," Lynn responds. "That's what I wanna hear." I catch Rowan's smile dip a little, though. Just for a second. "Just be careful, Vita," he says. "Please. Don't get in over your head." "I'll try," I say. "But I don't promise." That's not really a promise I'll be able to keep. Eventually, the celebrations end. We head back upstairs and explain to the other kids I'm leaving to become a hunter, to cheers and salutations. I hug them all again, then very carefully grab my best friend Roscoe the Crow Stuffy and shove him inside one of my pouches. As if this was a perfectly normal event that warranted no further attention, and certainly not the poorly hidden grins of my whole family thinking I'm adorable, I punctuate the action with a question. "Hey Rowan, what does necrotic diseases and cellular degeneration mean?" "It's what the biomancer said she specialized in." Rowan says, blinking. "It sounds like she destroys people's bodies with magic diseases," he explains. "You may have found someone almost as creepy and disturbing as you, Vita." I scowl and punch him in the leg. He laughs. "Don't be mean. She's gonna be on my team, apparently, so I wanted to know. Anyway, I should get going. I don't have much time left." "See you, Vita," Lynn says, saluting. "Knock 'em dead, kiddo." "Not a kiddo," I say, smiling back. "But that's the plan." At that, I head out, taking a deep breath to steel myself for the return to the guild. I still haven't really seen much of it, just the courtyard where I got my ass beat in the hallway between there and the front room. It was way bigger of a place than that, 2 stories tall and large enough to be a noble's villa. The secretary behind the desk gives me directions to what is apparently my room when I return, and I race up the stairs gleefully. There are already 2 other people in the room, go figure, but they aren't what catches my eye when I first walk in. No, what catches my eye is how huge the room is. I can't get over it. There are 3 beds in here, each with a frame and a mattress. A mattress? Is one of these mine? That isn't the only furniture, either. There are little desks and nightstands and chairs and real pillows on the beds and, are you just going to stand there gawking? Penelope asks impatiently. She is, of course, one of the 2 other people in the room. My room. A room where only 3 people slept and they slept in beds. Is one of these mine? I squeak, pointing. What? Oh, for Watcher's sake, yes. Penelope snaps. That one is yours. This one is mine. And the one with a person on it is hers. Hey, the person in question says, flicking a hand in a wave. She's another girl, and she is massive. Nearly 2 feet taller than me, at least. She lounges on her bed, arms behind her head. Her dark hair and darker skin are contrasted by the white cotton shirt she has on, which shows off a stunning amount of muscle. Her soul has a warmth to it like Lynn's, though it flows like water. Despite its flexibility, though, it feels hard, almost unbreakable. Penelope's soul is way bigger, but they are both much stronger than me. "You must be Vida," she says, snapping me out of my stares. "My name's Nora. Nice to meet you." And nice to meet you too," I murmur, heading towards my bed. To store what little stuff I had. I'm not really sure what else to say. It's kind of weird having strangers be happy to see me. I pull Roscoe out of the pack I stuffed him in, carefully placing him under the covers. The act puts a goofy grin on my face. "Is it comfy, Roscoe?" "I bet it is." "See, Nora," Penelope says mockingly. "I told you she was 10 years old." Blood rushes to my face in a furious blush. I turn on her immediately, ready to give her a piece of my mind. "I am not. I'm 16. She snorts. "Honey, you carry around a stuffed animal. You are a child, and you should not be here." One hand goes to the spear on my back. "Leave Roscoe out of this." Whoa, Nora says, hopping up from her bed. Holy shit, she is tall. "How about the two of you cool it, okay? We just met, we're gonna be working together whether you like it or not. Let's learn to like it. We can't just be okay with this." Penelope snaps. "She's going to get us killed, Nora. She's a fucking child." "I am not." I shout back. "I am a biomancer." She retorts. "Do not fucking lie to me. You hit puberty maybe a week ago. You're not even 5 feet tall. Your lie is fucking ridiculous." "Well, I'm sorry, I was too busy starving to grow big, floppy tits like you. I barely survived my life, you rich bitch. I don't get to decide when my body wants to do that shit." "Please, you're not starving," she sneers. "You're plenty fit, for a child." I said to fucking cool it. Nora shouts, shutting both of us up. "Penelope, just take Vida at her word for now, okay? Vida, just calm down. Not every tease is a personal attack." I almost snap at Nora too, but manage to stop myself, taking a deep breath. Right. Don't piss off the team. Especially don't piss off the biomancer. "Okay. Sorry, Nora." "Sorry, Penelope." Penelope just snorts. "Come on, P," Nora prompts. "Maybe an apology back." "I'll apologize if there's a reason to," Penelope snaps back. "Stop trying to tell me what to do." She turns back to her desk, where she was writing something that would take way too long for me to figure out how to read. Her section of the room is stacked with books, a couple of inkpots, a well-worn quill, and most notably to my senses, a large cage with 4 rats in it. Much like Penelope herself, they look much better fed than the ones I'd find on the street. Well, maybe I could try to start a new conversation. To take the edge off? Why do you have rats?" I ask slowly, standing timidly behind Penelope's chair. She turns to glare at me. "I like rats." "Is that a problem?" "I like rats too," I respond, technically not lying. She smiles back, though it isn't a particularly nice sort of smile. "Oh, do you? That's wonderful. I find them to be my preferred test subjects. Plentiful, and decently similar to humans on a biological level for their level of convenience. Very easy to replace when they die." "Oh, okay," I say, non-committally. I'm not exactly bothered by the prospect of mass rat murder. Besides, that certainly explained why 3 of the rats felt all drippy and strained. They were dying, and their tiny souls were desperately trying to keep their bodies together. Poor things were exhausted. "So what kind of experiments are you doing? Are rats really that similar to humans?" Her frown drops, and she returns to writing at her desk. She looks disappointed. Was she trying to unnerve me for some reason? That's going to be difficult for her to do. "I'm researching," she snaps. "Which is to say, contributing to the foundation of all human knowledge. Now leave me to it, and stop asking inane questions." "Oh. Okay. Sorry." I head back to my bed, lying down on it, spread eagle. It's soft. Not even Rowan and Lynn have a bed this soft. I can't help but feel a little bad, after all the effort they went through to get me here. Have you met the boys yet, Vita? Nora asks, prompting me to look up. Boys? Yeah, the boys. Our other teammates. They have the room next door. She points at one of the walls. You want me to introduce you to them? I perk up at that, feeling out the souls in the room next door. A big one, pulsing red and spinning without ever slowing. A small one, even smaller than mine, dark blue and cold like a pool of water. Two of them, right? I asked Nora. One's got a lot of energy, and the other is kinda quiet. Nora blinks. Oh. Yeah, that's them. You've met them already? I shake my head, smiling a little. It was a bit of a lucky guess, but it's becoming increasingly clear that how a soul felt to me meant something. I'm trying to pay more attention to it. I'm the scout, I announce proudly. I feel him through the wall. I'm not strong like you and Penelope, but I'll make sure nothing hides or sneaks up on us. Huh? Nora says, seeming impressed. That's handy, V. I've never heard of a detection power that lets you sense someone's personality. Oh. Shit. Was that a bad thing to share? I dunno if I'm, good at it. That was my first time trying to guess. Everybody just feels different? Nora shrugs. Yeah, natural shit is weird like that. Let's get going. Oh. Okay, phew. Nora heads to the door, promptly, and I raise an eyebrow. You don't wanna put on pants first? I ask, staring pointedly at her undershorts. Nora scoffs. Why? I'm technically dressed. If they wanna stare, I look forward to their jealousy. She poses, flexing, and I can't help but giggle. I guess it's one way to look at it. I've always looked more depressing than anything. A starving Vita without her shirt was about the furthest thing from attractive. I guess that might be changing soon. The pair of us head out, Nora leading the way. She knocks on the door, calling out, Yo, get your pants on and come meet the last member. Apparently her clothing policy doesn't apply to the boys. After only a brief shuffle, a lean, tan, white-haired young man opens the door. What makes you think our pants aren't? His voice trails off as he stares at Nora's thighs. Ah. Well. Come on in, I guess. She laughs and follows him in as he opens the door for us. He's the one with the small soul, though, so as I enter my eyes quickly search for the other guy in the room. This becomes incredibly easy as he moves rapidly towards me and picks me up in an enormous hug. Ha ha. You must be Vita. He announces boisterously, spinning me around. Please put me down. I squeak back, my body already in full fight or flight mode. What is happening? Did normal people do this? Sorry. He apologizes, setting me down gently and patting me on the head. The head. You're just. You're very small. I couldn't help myself. A blush on my cheeks blooms as I glare up at him. He has such a big smile, though, my scathing reply dies in my throat. My name's Bentley. He announces proudly. This is Orville. Bentley is an incredibly wide-shouldered young man, tall but not as tall as Nora. He has a blonde peach fuzz beard, short hair, and a grin that absolutely will not stop. His musculature rivals, if not exceeds Nora's. It's great to meet both of you, Bentley continues, apparently content to supply all sides of the conversation by himself. I'm in the front. Arrivals are ranged fire support. Is that a spear? Are you with Nora and I? You look a bit frail for that, but I guess it's never good to judge by appearance. He laughs some more. I have to wait for him to breathe so I can get a word in edgewise. I'm okay with a spear, but I'm mostly just the scout. I sense things from really far away. Oh. Great, a scout. He slaps me on the back boisterously, which hurts. That's wonderful. I'll be counting on you to watch my rear, Vita. Why yeah. I'll be counting on you to, watch my front I guess. Ha! I won't let you down, and neither will Nora. She's tough as nails. I couldn't even scratch her. And you never will, Nora says, grinning right back. We'll see about that. If you two are fighting, please leave the dorm this time, Orville comments, already disengaged from the conversation and over at his desk. So, what does everybody do exactly? Do you all have magic or special things? I know Penelope is a biomancer, but I don't know about anyone else. Bentley laughs. I've got nothing but grit, determination, and a very large axe. It's all I've ever needed so far. That doesn't seem right. It feels like Bentley has some kind of talent, but it doesn't sound like he's lying either. Oh, well. It's probably passive, like Lynn's. Maybe he doesn't even know about it. I have magic, but I don't have any special things, Orville comments from his corner of the room, nose still in a book as he answers. I had to learn it all the hard way. I nod. That's cool. Someone important to me is like that, too. What kind of magic do you use? He turns my way at that, giving me a more considering glance. Aeromancy. I use it to enhance my bowmanship, and a few other things. I'm far from an expert, but Remus thought it was good enough, I suppose. I nod, turning to Nora. She grins confidently. Stab my shirt with your spear. Huh? I ask, blinking. Is she serious? Stab my shirt, Nora repeats. As hard as you can. I frown, but draw my spear and stab it at her as instructed. It goes clink. Against the cotton, as if I stabbed a boulder. I stare up at the mountain of a woman. What? I ask. It's my natural magic. She says, grinning back. I call it reinforce. I make things tough. It also makes them inflexible, though, and doesn't work on living things. Not living things, she says. Don't ask, don't ask, don't ask. What about dead things? I ask. Like, if you kill a monster, can you pick up a corpse and use it as a shield? Hypothetically. She frowns. I don't know. It works on leather, so. I'd assume so. Neat, I say, keeping as straight a face as I can. Trying to distract myself, I look around the room to see if I can spot damage from the fight that Orville mentioned. Sure enough. Stuffed in the corner, there's some smashed wood that looks like may have once been Bentley's missing nightstand. What a waste of such a nice piece of furniture. Have you guys known each other long? I ask. A few weeks, I think. Bentley answers boisterously. Enough to be friends, though I suppose we don't know each other all that well. You and Orville are the newest hires, Nora clarifies. Orville joined. What, 5 days ago? 6, Orville corrects, back to otherwise ignoring the lot of us. I fidget a little. Ugh, I really don't want to ask. But I also don't want to die. Can you give me advice for getting along with Penelope? I ask. We keep making each other mad, but I don't want to be on bad terms with the healer. Bentley scratches his cheek, looking mildly embarrassed. Well, you certainly shouldn't try to hug her. She gave me ulcers for a few days. It's not just you, Vita, Nora adds. We're all struggling to get along with her a bit. She really seems to look down on everyone else. I guess that makes sense, I say, frowning. She's like, way stronger than everyone else here. Hey now. You'll hurt a man's pride saying something like that. Bentley comments, only half joking. I shrug. It is what it is. You're the next strongest, Bentley. But Penelope feels closer to Remus than she does to you. Hey. Nora comments. What do you mean Bentley's the next strongest? I kick Bentley's ass. Oh, it's just what my senses tell me. It doesn't mean you can't win. It makes sense to me. Bentley responds, laughing. Nora is the rock to my scissors. When she is in full armor, she's basically invincible. But, HRM. I suppose the paper to her rock would be Penelope, Nora finishes. Yeah. Doesn't matter how tough my armor is if she just completely ignores it. Biomancy is scary. She's probably used to getting what she wants. Who would want to talk back to someone that can just casually rot your eyes out? If only I could get that kind of respect from my powers. Okay. Thanks, guys. Yeah, no worries, V, Nora says, squeezing my shoulder lightly. You're not the only one that got in a shouting match with that bitch day one. We're on your side, here. I smile, nodding. Thanks. So, when are we going to be doing hunter stuff? What kind of monsters have you guys hunted already? Soon and none, Nora answers. Most of our time here so far has been Remus kicking everyone's ass. Well, except Penelope's. Geez, not even Remus? That is so unfair. It's not that bad. Bentley says, grinning. I'm way stronger now than I was before. Remus is a good trainer. I consider that for a moment. I guess he didn't break too many of my bones, which was nice of him. If he had really wanted to hurt me, he could have done a lot worse. He must have been holding back on purpose. Bentley laughs at my comment, though, much to my confusion. It wasn't a joke. We have a full team now, so the hunts will probably start soon, Orville chimes in. We were just waiting for someone with skills like Vita's to show up. Huh? Well, that's neat. I actually got a bit of luck in my life. It's no wonder Remus accepted a wimp like me if I was the last piece of the puzzle he needed. Let's see. That was just about all the questions I had, and I'm not actually sure how else to talk to people. So, what to do now? I'm not tired, I can't go help Rowan, I'm not hungry. No, wait. I'm super hungry. I'm just not starving. That is going to take some getting used to. Is there food we can eat here? I ask. There is. Bentley says happily. It's quite good, too. Would you like me to show you the mess hall? I nod rapidly, following him. Bentley's going to get me food. We're friends now. He leads the way downstairs and into a larger room. A half-dozen hunters with souls much larger than my teams eat at a table, and a few weaker cooks mull about. The smell in the room is so incredible, I can feel my mouth watering already. What is this? Stew. Fresh bread? Vegetables? Is that fruit? Right here, Vita. Bentley says. Help yourself. As much as you want. I stopped walking. No way I heard that right. What? You can take as much as you want, Vita, he repeats. Just don't overeat. We have to be fit to fight in case Remus ambushes us. Is that a thing that happens? No, wait, I don't care. I can have as much as I want, right? I ask. Yep, that's right. Bentley says. Can I, take it back to my room to eat? Well, I suppose so, sure. There aren't any rules against that, or anything. So I could take the food somewhere else to eat, too. I suppose. I swallow. No way. When do you think Remus is gonna want to see us? He strokes his chin. Probably not for another half hour, at least. I think he's out right now. Why? I don't answer. As fast as I can, I grab as much food as I can carry and sprint out of the Hunters Guild. I have a debt to start repaying. Chapter 11. I told you to be back within 2 hours, Remus said, circling around me like a stalking wolf. I was back within 2 hours. I squeaked. I just left again. After stealing food, Remus pressed. Bentley said I could have as much as I want. The back of a fist collided with my stomach, knocking the air out of my lungs. It took everything I had to not double over and collapse. Hunters can have as much as they need, Remus snapped. Do you think our supply of food is limitless? We have what we have because we earned it, risking our very lives. It's why I'm here, sir. I choke out, standing up as straight as I can manage. I'm just trying to feed my family, sir. Then you can do so with the money we pay you, brat, and the value of everything you stole today will be cut from that first payment. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. My team and I were in the courtyard where Remus first spent hours kicking the shit out of me. They were all standing around awkwardly while Remus gave a repeat performance for my food stunt. Well, everyone except Penelope stood around awkwardly. She just seemed bored. Meanwhile, I'm trembling furiously. All that food, was just for hunters? There's only 33 people in the building. I could feed my family for weeks with what they had in a day. This was absurd. It was unfair. I didn't deserve this. Not the beating, maybe I deserved that. Just not this. All this hunter stuff. This was such a huge jump in luxury that I couldn't comprehend it. I suppose that most of the people here might not live long enough to see much more of it. That didn't apply to me, though. I had to live. I didn't deserve it because I might die. I'm just even more of an undeserving failure if I did die. If that happens, it's all for nothing. Now then, with that out of the way, Remus growls. Today, we're going to talk about adding Vita to your formation. As I've mentioned before, formations are a godsend when things are going right and a liability when they're going poorly. The point of a formation is to force the monster to fight on your terms, so I shouldn't have to tell you the best place to put Vita. Right behind me, Nora says immediately. Correct, Remus agrees, nodding. She can use that spear to add a little punch to your lackluster offense, but most importantly you can keep her in the middle of the formation, where she can detect ambushes and easily shift to help anyone who needs it. Vita, your first job as a scout is the scout. Your second job as a scout is simply to back up anyone who needs it. You are the weakest member of your team in a fight, but you are far from useless. Distract, support, and strike as needed, but never stop looking out for threats. Outside the walls, enemies can attack from any direction and they can do so without warning. You are the team's first and most important line of defense. Do not let your allies get surrounded. Why yes sir. I bark. The rest of you all know your business, he says. Today, you'll be in a mock battle against me. Treat me like a monster, but it's still a mock battle. That means you stick to support and healing, Penelope. She TSKS, glaring but not arguing. Remus had no weapon, but he was decked out head to toe in a giant scale armor, complete with a helmet. There was no chance my spear was getting through that, unless I got a lucky shot to the joints. And I knew that would be luck. I'm nowhere near skilled enough to hit a pinpoint strike on someone moving as fast as Remus, so what the heck was I supposed to do? I didn't get much time to think about it. Remus sprung towards Nora and snapped out a kick before I even knew what was happening. The whole team was dressed in full combat gear now, and Nora was no exception. She had heavy, full-body armor much like Remus, though hers was made of chitin rather than humongous scales. She had no weapon other than a huge wooden tower shield that she held with both arms. An impact like an explosion rings through the courtyard as Remus's armored boot smashes into the shield, causing her to skid back a bit. I jabbed at him but he was already on the move, retreating from the joyfully aggressive screams that heralded Bentley's attempts to cut him off and cut him down. Penelope. Hit me with the juice. He roars happily. Already? She groans, but her hands deftly start to move around in patterns. That meant she wasn't natural casting, but casting a learned spell? I suppose that made sense. Lots of mages had natural spell talents and expanded on those innate spells by learning formalized magic. The natural instinct of a bard biomancer would no doubt help when learning biomancy spells outside a natural caster's purview. Because there were, indeed, things outside a natural caster's purview. I wouldn't keep being able to go with my gut forever. An arrow streaks past my head, reminding me that this probably isn't the best time to think about such things. Another enemy? No, just Orville, apparently unconcerned about keeping my head unperforated. Remus backpins the arrow out of the sky, hammering another kick onto Nora's shield and retreating before I can even think about striking out. I struggle to keep track of Remus's movements, even though I always felt where he's with my soul sense. If only I could predict where he was going to be. Maybe his soul can give me hints? Gah, that's probably Koneman's stuff. I doubt I'm lucky enough to have that in my bag of tricks. Still, even if I'm not going to hit him, I might force him to dodge at an awkward time and make it a little easier for my teammates. Remus went after Nora over and over, giving me plenty of chances to take jabs at him. Why was he going after Nora, though? Was he just pretending to be a mindless monster? Any intelligent fighter with his superior speed would run past her and attack the backline, so why would he? My first job as a scout is to scout. I focus my senses beyond the immediate battle of the courtyard. Just as I feared, 2 more people were rushing from inside the complex to strike my team from behind. Incoming from the rear. I shout. 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock doors. Contact in 5, 4, 3, 2. 2 cheerful, large Sound Hunter veterans bust out the doors I indicated, holding huge axes above their heads and roaring like monsters. 1 each immediately went for Orville and Penelope, but thanks to my call-out, Bentley was already moving to engage. "Dunno if I'll make it," he warned. "Yes you will," Penelope decreed, finishing her spell. Bentley whooped with excitement, suddenly double-timing it into the fray. His sudden speed surprises the monster that had been rushing Penelope, letting Bentley knock the man silly. Orville, meanwhile, holds his own, keeping the other assailant at bay. But that left only myself and Nora with Remus. The instructor pounded mercilessly on Nora's shield, and though she never broke, he was consistently pushing her back. My spear jabs were little more than an annoyance, and as Remus twisted around to try and strike at me, he forced Nora to exhaust herself rushing about to defend. This wasn't going to last. "Bentley!" I yelled back at him. "We need you on Remus. Swap me." "Yes ma'am," Bentley barked, turning around and boosting back my way. "Wait," Penelope shouted. "Who's going to protect me?" "I will." "Run towards me." I'm already sprinting her way, spear at the ready. The guy Bentley had been knocking silly is pretty beat up, but he's still kicking and clearly way stronger than me. Why was everyone always stronger than me? Even Orville is doing better in the fight than I am, and he felt weaker. Doesn't matter. No time to complain. I cross places with Penelope, stabbing at her pursuer using my spear's maximum range. He knocks the strike to the side, forcing me to jump back to avoid a gruesome axe swing. That could have actually killed me. I don't have the time to gawk at it, though, as it's followed with a kick to my chest that nearly knocks me on my ass. "You're not going to be much help like this," Penelope complains. "Then do something about it." I snap back, forcing the enemy away with another quick jab. "I am." "Just shut up and drop your resistance." Holy shit, I hate Penelope. I do as she says, though. She's still on my team. Her hand presses on my back, and suddenly, everything snaps into focus. Penelope's spell flows over me. Orville was blocking an axe swing with his bow to my left. I felt Nora and Bentley flank Remus behind me, but I could already tell it wasn't going to work. The axe-wielding monster in front of me prepared another downward swing. I should jump but, no, wait, why jump back? It's so clear now. I should dodge to the side, take the opening to strike. I do so. My spear catches him in the arm. "It's a good spell," I comment, vibrating a little. "It is, isn't it?" Penelope says smugly, but I've already stabbed the axe guy 2 more times before she finishes. The damage is superficial, more due to his skill than mine, but he makes a show of dropping his axe and running off anyway. "Go help Nora," I suggest, running towards Orville. The 2 of us together convince the other interloper to flee, leaving the full team clear to focus back on Remus. Nora looks absolutely exhausted, although Penelope casts something and she immediately stands back up straighter. As Orville's arrows start to fly, Remus actually starts getting pushed back a little. This was good, right? I get back into position. It was way easier to strike at Remus with Penelope's spell on me. Finally, some progress. Remus was rapidly getting pushed backwards now. His back would be to a wall soon. Our team might win. No, wait. Don't get cocky. I keep my senses peeled for any incoming reinforcements. Nothing. No one else was approaching the courtyard. So what was? Suddenly, Bentley stumbles, his leg dropping into the ground up to his knee. Was that a pitfall trap? Thus immobilized, Remus catches Bentley with a roundhouse kick to the head, knocking our team's physical offense out cold. It all went downhill from there. I'm still jittery from the spell Penelope cast on me when the fight was declared over and Bentley was brought back to consciousness. It was so weird. Everything felt so fast. Yet I can't stop thinking over and over about how, of all things, Remus swung the match with a tiny, foot-deep hole. Damn it. We were all so close. Or had he been sandbagging? Had this been his plan all along? As badly as Bentley had gotten walloped, I have plenty of my own bruises as well. Remus didn't stop until everyone was beaten broken. Though he never hit Penelope. Was she getting special treatment for being a biomancer, or something else? Either way, it was bullshit. I have certainly seen worse battles from teams as new as yours, Remus declared. But in the end, your scout failed you. If this had been a real fight, you would all be dead. What? Fucking asshole piece of. I'd rip his damn soul out. No. No, calm down. Calm down. Why was he being an asshole? Did he just not like me? Well, he clearly fucking likes Penelope. No. Think. My lower lip starts to quiver a bit, tears starting to well up, but I clamp down on that feeling, hard. I will not cry here. I have gone through way worse shit than this. What's a little bit of humiliation, after what I've been through? Yes sir, I say, standing as stiffly as I can. I was overly reliant on my ability. I still need to learn about threats I can't detect, like traps. Remus takes off his helmet. Maybe it's my imagination, but I think he's almost smiling. Correct, he says. You did well at your roll up until the end, Vita. But if any one of you does not excel for the entire fight, the whole team dies. I nod, slowly. What should I have done differently, sir? I ask. I'm not any more capable of spotting a hole in the ground than anyone else on the team. I can't help but feel like I want to protest being singled out. Remus nods. Well, certainly it could be argued that the blame is on Bentley. But, Vita, what would have happened to you if Nora hadn't been covering you in the first part of the fight? I frown. I would have gotten the shit kicked out of me, obviously. Your allies covered for your weakness because that was their job, Remus continues, clearly picking up on your expression. Your job is to spot threats. Should you not be the one excelling in that area, so you can cover for your allies when they are lacking? That is what it means to be part of a team. Do you have any sort of talent to accelerate your growth as a warrior, Vita? Well, technically I did. Soul eating made me physically more powerful, and would probably continue to do so. Yet it seems like a dumb idea to bring attention to that. No sir, I don't, I lie. But I can train and become stronger without a special talent. He nods. That's true. You can and you will. But all your allies will as well, and your allies have a head start, a superior body frame, and exactly the special talents you lack. They will always be covering for you physically. But as you can clearly see, he kicks at the ground next to the trap. There's a lot more to surviving than muscle and blade. You are perceptive. You make sharp decisions quickly. Focus on that, and you will be indispensable to your team. He turns his head. Orville. You get too tied up trying to do things on your own. Communicate more with your team. Penelope, you talk too damn much. Focus on your spells, not sassing your teammates. Nora, you need to work on your offense. Get something other than that board to work with. Bentley, you're as empty-headed as ever. You need to focus on protecting your opponent, don't just swing it wherever they happen to be standing. Got it? Good. Dismissed. Remus about faces and promptly leaves us, giving the team the opportunity to soak in our failures. Nora shakes her head and makes her way to the mess hall. She's sweating like crazy. Penelope makes her way back to our shared room, while the boys stick around. I stand with them, not really feeling like doing much of anything. I'm utterly, completely exhausted and Orville looks much the same. Bentley, on the other hand, doesn't look tired in the slightest, presumably because he recently had a concussion-induced nap. Predict where they're going to be and swing there? Are you sure that's what Instructor Remus meant, Orville? What if I predict wrong? Then you miss, Orville answers blandly. Exactly. Bentley exclaims. It makes way more sense to swing where they are. If I'm missing, that just means I have to swing faster. Uh-huh. And how many times did you actually hit Instructor Remus? Bentley scratches his cheek, not meeting Orville's eyes. Okay, so I have to swing a lot faster. Has anyone ever told you that you're an idiot, Bentley? I turn away and start to head back to my room. Part of me wants to talk to them, but I'm just not feeling it right now. Unfortunately, Bentley spots me leaving and runs up to clap a hand on my shoulder. Hey, Vita. I just wanted to say, it's totally not your fault that I stepped in that trap. Remus is just tougher on you because you're so new, I think. He chewed us all out like that when we first joined. Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Bentley. I'd figured that was the case, but knowing it wasn't making it feel any better. Also, he continues, I think it's really cool how you ran off to give all that food away. I never thought of that, but it's a good idea. I bet my mom would love the bread they bake here. It's too bad we're not allowed to take it home, huh? Yeah, I say again, shrugging his hand off my shoulder. Well, I'll see you later, Bentley. I'm going to go take a nap. Oh, of course. Sorry. I'll be sure to be quiet. He waves goodbye, smiling. I manage to smile a little bit back. Trudging up the stairs, I open the door to my room and step inside. Penelope is there, as I already knew. Soul Sense was useful like that. Ah, so the great failure of the muck battle returns, she comments blandly, not looking up from her desk. It was like turning a faucet. I step in quickly, grab Roscoe when I'm sure she is not looking, and leave. I would not cry in there. Not in front of her. Never, never, never. I let my senses guide me to a room with no one in it, which turns out to be a dusty old storeroom. Fine by me. I close the door behind me, squeeze my friend, and let the water flow. Quietly, oh so quietly, I begin to sob. Waste of water, but I have plenty of water now. It was always easier to hold back tears when the body couldn't make any. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Why was this so hard? Why did I feel so awful? This shouldn't hurt so bad. My life has been full of worse things than Remus and Penelope and the bruises I get from fake fights where I won't really die. But I tried so hard to win and everything was going right and then. The tears flowed still, and no amount of telling myself they shouldn't be there was going to stop them. I squeezed my stuffed bird as hard as I could, soaking him with my despair. It was just so hard. So scary. Why did I have to be born a blasphemy? Why did I have to be my family's hope? Why did it feel like everything I've accomplished was going to collapse at any second? I don't deserve this. I'm just a screw-up, a failure, an accident. I should not be here. Yet I have no choice, I have to keep going. What else is there to do? Eventually, after what feels like forever, the tears stop. I dry my face, give Roscoe one last massive squeeze, and return to my room. Penelope is still there, writing away. I tuck my stuffed bird under the covers again, hoping she won't look up. She doesn't. I sit silently on my bed, just me and her in the room. I hate her so much. Yet I have to make friends with the healer. Lynn said so. What are you writing? I asked quietly. Research notes, she says simply. What are you researching? She gives a long-suffering sigh. If you must know, I'm researching the brain. It's one of the great mysteries of biology. Why is that? I ask. She glances at me judgingly, but decides to respond. It's too big. Much too big. Yet it's far too big in almost every animal that has a similar bone structure to humans, and even many that don't. We know a few of the things the brain does, and they are certainly important things. It directs the muscles, for example. But so much of the brain just seems to do nothing. Nothing at all. For a long time it's been theorized that those seemingly useless bits had some function we've failed to discover. I'm trying to find that function by systematically destroying sections of rot brains. By seeing how their behavior differs when they lack certain parts of the organ, we can hopefully gain clues as to what those parts do. Yet they really do seem to do nothing. I frown, pointing at the rats with strained souls. Those 3 are dying, though. Penelope raises an eyebrow. Yes. What I'm doing is a delicate operation, and I failed on all 3 of them. My natural power is particularly suited to precise tissue removal, which makes me a better fit for this kind of study than many far more experienced biomancers. It's still difficult. This one, though. She picks the healthy rat out of the cage, carefully and daintily. I've destroyed almost 30% of this little one's brain. Nearly the entire frontal lobe. And I can't determine any change in its health or behavior whatsoever. Why? If it was just rats, that could be dismissed as a quirk of nature. But almost every mammal is like this. It's so strange. What is this part of the body supposed to do? Does the brain correspond to the soul at all? I ask after a while. She rolls her eyes, responding in her most condescending tone yet. If you had any actual interest in the field whatsoever, you would already know that the prevailing theory is that the unidentified parts of the brain form the communication link between body and soul. This is obviously connected to my research, since I am in the process of potentially disproving it. Now stop acting like you care or understand, and leave me to my work. Deep breaths. Can't let her get to me. Penelope, come on, I answer, as calmly as I can muster. I've never heard of any of this stuff, but that doesn't mean I don't care. I'm just trying to get to know you and get along with you. I'm trying to be nice. Why do you keep going out of your way to be mean? She sighs, still staring at her notes. Because you're fake. Huh? Why did you feel the need to get along with me, Vita? Penelope asked. Is it because you care about who I am? Or is it because you know I'm your healer? Don't worry, Vita. I know I'm just your magic dispensary, and I will perform adequately at that role to ensure you stay alive and healthy. You don't need to pretend to care about me to get that service, so please feel free to stop. I swallow, blushing hard. Well, I had been trying to get to know her because she could heal, yeah. Was that really all that bad, though? Is that not how it starts? I asked quietly. Am I supposed to care about everyone off the bat? I'm asking because I'm sure there's a lot more to you that I want to know. Well, if only I could say the same about you. I feel tears start to come again, but I hold them in. Never mind. Fuck this girl. How come Remus doesn't smack you around like he does for everyone else, anyway? Maybe we could bond over that. Because I don't need it, I suspect. She puts the lab rat back in its cage. If Remus wasn't demanding I babysit y'all instead, I could kill him and the rest of you together. She says this with perfect, serene confidence, like it was no big deal. I frowned, thinking. That's a bold claim. How would she do it? With a disease. Even if Remus is too strong to cast magic on directly, he can still get sick. Exactly, she answered, smiling a little. Your lungs would fill with blood in a matter of seconds. It must be awfully jarring for someone so strong to have so much to fear from a girl my age. Perhaps he doesn't know how to handle it. I stared at her, wondering if she really believed that. I think she did. She was too smug about it to be anything but serious. That was odd to me. Her conclusion didn't make sense. I don't get it. Our lungs fill with blood. Then what? We'll die eventually, I guess. But will we die immediately? How long would we have, Penelope? 5 seconds. 10? A minute? Have you ever killed somebody before? She blinked, momentarily taken aback. Well, no. Of course not. I'm not a murderer. I'm merely stating, how many people have tried to kill you? None. Why would anyone? Okay. That explains it. It's not really that simple, Penelope. I leaned in, staring very, very intently. If she wanted to act like I had nothing to offer, I'd gladly give her a bit of common sense. Without your fingers, you can't heal. Right? You need them for that, because it's all learned by Amancy. Gotta draw your little spells. Your natural talent is disease. take too long killing us, and we'll just kill you back. I could break your fingers, Remus could cut them off. Then your life is just a stab to the kidney or a slash to the neck away. Being able to murder isn't special, Penelope. Remus can do it. I can do it. A 6-year-old with a sharp stick can do it if they know how. People die. No one here is afraid of you just because you can end our lives. We trust you not to because you're smart enough to know the consequences, same as anyone else. I stared at her, unblinking, as she struggled to respond. Her casual boast couldn't match the conviction in my words. I was serious. If it came down to it, I would kill her. I wish that wasn't the case. I certainly didn't intend to kill her. Yet I knew she couldn't be more wrong. Remus is not afraid of her, and neither am I. Penelope looked away, turning back to her notes. Well, it's not relevant. As I said, I have no actual desire to harm any of you. I couldn't tell you why Remus gives me special treatment. I still intend to work with you, regardless of how much you'd apparently enjoy seeing me dismembered. I knew going in that none of you would like me. If you weren't such a bitch, we would like you. We're trying. She scowls at me for a second, then returns to her notes. Leave me alone, Vita. I curl up onto my bed. That's probably all I'm going to get out of Penelope today. Honestly, I'm exhausted. I should sleep. Less than a minute later I'm passed out cold, having forgotten to even get under the covers.